Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to fulfill a request that I never thought I'd be able to deliver on. Never thought I'd have one of these on this channel, and I certainly never thought I was going to have one with a history like this. So without further ado, meet Jojo. Jojo is a 2014 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Sahara Edition. So let's start with the history, since I don't get to say this very often, but this is a one-owner, clear title, no accidents Southern vehicle. Well, I guess I get to say the Southern vehicle quite often because I do travel to get rust-free cars down there. But this one came to me. It also has relatively low mileage. But the benefits don't stop there. I got a glove box full of all of the receipts of the money that they've put into this thing in the recent past. Some of it pretty extensive. As if this thing, with its history, wasn't already a needle in a haystack, there's more. This one comes with the I'm going to make this Jeep Wrangler my entire identity starter pack. We have a soft top to go with our hard top. It's used. The last owner purchased it, never installed it. The hard top's never been off, which is why the lift for the hard top has never been used. Also comes with it. We got the covers for the hard tops up in the front, and we have cargo liners for both front and rear seats and our cargo area, in addition to the floor mats. Now, back when I used to be into Jeeps, they didn't even have carpeting. Now we have cargo liners, floor mats, and carpeting. It didn't have power windows or locks or half the stuff this thing has. Heck, you didn't even have an automatic transmission. So what am I doing with something like this on a rebuild channel? Well, I sell my rebuilds, and sometimes I get trade-ins, and this happens to be one of those trade-ins. Now, even though we don't have to rebuild it, I'm sure there's some work, even though it's in really good condition, that we're gonna have to do to it. We're definitely gonna have to give it a good detail. Well, I'm not, because I don't do that. But somebody's gonna have to give it a good detail, probably the detailing gnome. And we'll check everything out, make sure everything's working, make sure everything's good. First thing we tested was the four-wheel drive, because I'm sure this is the most off-roading this Jeep has ever done, and the four-wheel drive works. And let's be realistic, it's probably the most four-wheeling this Jeep will ever do. So the body is actually in really good condition. We got a couple little dings in the hood that if my PDR magician isn't too busy, I'll have him take care of those. We'll get some scuff on our fender flares. Most of them will buff out. There are a couple that are through the paint, but they're plastic, so they won't rust. There's a couple of little dings in the bumper from getting too close to stuff. I don't know that we're going to worry about those because, well, it's a Jeep, and you know, Jeep owners have to change the bumpers. I believe it's a requirement. I'm not gonna worry about it. If the new owner wants to change them, he can. She can. Somebody can. So something happens to Jeep owners when you acquire a Jeep. You feel the need to do unnecessary off-roading. And there must be some sort of new owner Jeep bat signal, because now my email is full of Jeep accessories that I don't need. So let's take this thing for a little ride and then check it out, see what, if anything, we need to do so that it's ready to sell. I do see another ding over here. Not sure how you get that on that fender there, but probably from hail. It is from Texas. The one thing I was worried about, these things are prone to lifter failures, but luckily this one was no different and they've already failed. And Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge, whatever you want to call them, the dealer changed them all. And it was done right after it started making noise, so apparently there was no catastrophic damage. Now, how do I know that? It was done just about 10,000 miles ago, which is the perfect timing. You don't want one that was just done, because if there's catastrophic damage, well, you're gonna find out the hard way after you already bought it. And you don't want one that was done 100,000 miles ago, because it's probably almost due for new lifters again. So this one gives you the benefit of making sure that there was no other engine damage that went along with the lifters, and also gives you the longest time on this new set of lifters. And it's had regular oil changes since then, so we should be good to go. So the first thing I found to fix is what I broke, and that's putting our little plastic skid plate back up here. And it's from our little off-roading adventure up a dirt pile. That's how I know this thing has never been off-road before. Luckily, it's pretty simple. I'm just gonna put our push pins back in here that we pulled out, and we're good to go. That's why I don't own a Jeep, because I'd want to go off-roading and it would get expensive for me. 70 miles an hour, I thought this Jeep had everything. Apparently the death wobble was one option they didn't pick. So let's push our luck and see if we can make it to triple digits. We're filming this in Mexico, of course. Now, I've pushed cars close to the 200 mile per hour mark, and motorcycles, and nothing has ever been as terrifying as 100 miles an hour in a Jeep Wrangler.
3 days later.
Also, it takes a lot of effort to make a Jeep Wrangler go that fast. Still no death wobble. Achievement unlocked. We're back from Mexico. We made it down to the shop. Now it's time to unpack the back of this thing and see all the bonuses that come with our Jeep. We got the covers for our hard tops. We got the windows for our soft top. Bunch of plastic for our soft top. A lift. Some nuts and bolts for our soft top. And the main part of our soft top. Put all this in a pile, organize it nicely, and take a picture. That's what you get. Our Jeep is all cleaned up, so now we're going to take it over and get a used car inspection. And I always recommend, anytime you're buying a car, get a used car inspection, whether it's a rebuilt or just a used car or even a new car, because it's only a couple $100, so it's cheap insurance. And even though the probability of a new car being in an accident and having some shoddy repairs is low, it's never zero. So depending on what we find in the inspection, we'll either repair it or just let the potential new owners know that this is something they may have to address in the future. So let's see what it looks like and if there's any work to do. I'm a prima donna and I can't work on the floor, so we got a lift here over at Mike's shop, so we're gonna do our used car inspection on a lift.
And since we're not gonna trust Scott to do his own inspection here, we're gonna third party this with me today, just so we get the proper care on this thing and we know what's wrong with it. Because Scott can be biased, as everyone knows.
Okay, I'll allow it.
All right, so first thing that I like to check when the hood is up, we're gonna look underneath here and see if we find anything out of the ordinary. We're gonna be checking our belt, filters, and just kind of poke around and see if something looks out of place. That's where I like to start off with. What about you?
Sounds good to me.
All right, let's get to it.
Well, I'm over here, so I'll check the air filter.
And I will just check for any leaking on valve covers and if anything looks out of place here.
Somebody's been here before.
Hey, it looks like you got a new belt. I will say that this being a Texas truck, I'm not used to working on stuff as clean as this, so I'll give Scott a up on that one. We should probably just take this cover off.
We're doing an oil change anyway, so. This would not pass the Jiffy Lube inspection.
Oh yeah, that's a $100 filter right there, Scott.
We'll get one, throw it in. Now I know why they left that other clamp off.
I think she looks good up top. What do you say?
I don't see anything scary. Then again, I'm selling the truck, so I don't see nothing.
Classic car salesman. You know what, Scott? I'm gonna grab my battery tester and let's test out your battery. Did good, she passes.
All right.
So we looked up top, let's see what's down below. And I must say, this thing is clean, Scott. I'm not used to working on rust-free.
And it's dry.
With a little bit
from that seal. 108,000 miles. Yeah, we'll excuse it.
Yeah, it's not bad. Out here, they typically will have no seal left, so that's a good thing. Let's shake her down.
It doesn't have a death wobble. I did verify that.
Yeah, she's nice and tight. I won't knock it. Your U-joints are good. Nothing on this side.
This one's good too. Got some new calipers. I did think I saw a receipt in the glove box for that.
You got new
Makes
brakes
sense.
up here too, Scott. New rotors looks like too. She's looking good.
Somebody sold him the entire package. I highly doubt it needed calipers.
I wish I was the one servicing this thing and made all the money on it.
Yeah, a Texas truck that they sold calipers on. It's not like they were rusty.
Rust doesn't even define this thing, Scott, because it is clean. I'll give it that. This is one of those occasions I wish I was in Texas.
I did hear a rattle.
More than likely a heat shield, and there we go.
I think a couple washers will take care of that.
Yeah, that's an easy fix. That's a godsend in Chicago. I'll give it that.
They don't even have the heat shields left up there. They rusted off a long time ago.
And it looks like someone got happy and put some brakes in the back here too.
Pull the tires off and get a closer inspection, but I think you're right.
And from the looks of it, someone serviced your diff because I see some marks here. It looks like someone's been in there before. You got some sealant, which is always a good service to be done.
All right, let's fix that heat shield before we let it down. We're gonna slip the hangers off the muffler so we can drop it down a little bit, give ourselves some room to work in there. You get in there? Is that not a 10?
I think it is just a little rusted.
Oh, how dare you say the R word. Let's see. You want me to break it?
Yeah. By Chicago standards, it should fall off. My tools don't like me today.
Alright, let me get a washer. So what's going on here is we have an aluminum heat shield held in with metal nuts. And we have dissimilar metals, which causes a thing called galvanic corrosion, which means all you need to do is add a little bit of moisture and salt if you want to make it even faster. And you definitely have aluminum that gives it a fight and basically falls down over the metal. So we're just pulling the nuts off of there, putting bigger washers on to cover up the big hole that's now corroded through the aluminum, and we'll start this all over again. Okay.
There you go. Go ahead.
It's on there. It's over the edge.
This one could maybe use a little more push. Oh, never mind, it's there.
All right.
She's good.
What's that?
I thought the tire just came loose on its own.
Oh. I
was
pulled
like,
it off.
Crap, I hope it doesn't hit him.
We got plenty of brakes. Rear brakes are just as good as the front. We did notice when we were pulling the wheels off of this thing that the left rear had a lug nut that didn't match all the others. Turns out it was only on a couple threads and somebody had replaced it. It was the wrong thread pitch. So it wasn't even tight. It was actually about a 1/2 inch space in there. So we decided to pull it off of there, and we decided the best thing to do would be to go ahead and replace that stud and that lug nut. And the reason we decided to do that is we tried cleaning up the threads and threading on a new lug nut. And I made my own threads, jammed it on there, and basically froze it on there. So we busted the end of our stud off of there, and now we're going to replace 2 lug nuts and our stud. This one here that's a little shorter. And knock it out of there. One hit wonder.
Toss that in the pile. Then we got our new one. We'll slip it in here. We'll put our stud installer on there. It's basically just a bearing that allows the lug nut to spin on it. Pull our stud into our wheel hub. Throw our rotor back on. And then we'll throw our caliper back on. We just pulled the bracket and everything off together. No need to take off extra bolts. Tighten that bracket down to manufacturer specs. Click. 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 Always good to double check those torque specs. And speaking of torque specs, Jiffy Lube didn't follow them. Now, normally I'd love to make fun of Take 5, but this one really did have a Jiffy Lube sticker. At least they put oil back in it, which is more than I can say for Take 5. Also, Jiffy Lube, when they mess up, in my experience, they take care of it. Take 5, well, they make it the owner's problem. The oil that came out of there is pretty clean, and most of it's out, so we'll go ahead and thread our plug back in there, tighten that down, get a breaker bar, and then we'll weld it on, and then we'll send it to Jiffy Lube. Payback. Now we're back up top to change our oil filter, which is very conveniently located had they not put that stupid cover on. It's a pain in the butt to get back on there. Pull the little cap off of there, pull our filter out of there. We're going to change the O-ring on our cap on camera, or I'll get accused of not doing it. There's our new O-ring. You can clearly see the old one. So yes, I did change it. Put a little oil on our filter O-ring. Slip it down in there. Put our cap back on. Spin it on there, and then tighten it down. And the creaking sound lets you know you've tightened it down to manufacturer specs. If you hear a cracking sound, well, you over tightened it. Now we're going to add our cheap Walmart oil just to trigger the internet. And while I was here at Mike's shop, I went on a little side quest. Pay attention to that right rear wheel. Every time it stops, it's not supposed to move forward and backward. We're going to have to check that out, amongst other things. We finally found a place that the rack could potentially lift it up. And it looks like someone has been here before. Just got some siding that we screwed to the bottom to try to replace a frame rail. And didn't do a very good job because, well, the entire rocker is missing. And yes, Saturns never rust, at least on the body panels. As far as the frame, well, that's a different story. The rocker on the other side. This thing has structural floor mats. So we'll go ahead and drain the oil out of it. And yes, it is running. This video is actually a portion of our Take 5 resume. Our plan was to just pull the plug out of it, let it run, and watch it die.
She lives, she will not die.
It's not what we were expecting. Turns out there was a couple quarts of oil in there, but the pump was actually doing its job and actually pulling the oil off the bottom of the pan faster than it could come out the drain plug. So we shut it off, drained it out, and here we go. Now we're going to help it die just a little bit faster.
Few minutes later.
Uh-oh, somebody let out the magic smoke.
Should we douse it in some water?
Did we get a hole?
Yeah, there's like carnage. You see it right there? There's like a glowing spot, or there was.
The glowing spot was a culmination of many things. I recently installed inspection port and the red hot internals of the engine, now visible externally.
All right, everyone, this was actually a really easy used car inspection. I wish we see more of these up here. This thing is clean and not a typical Chicago car. And surprisingly, Scott is not your regular car salesman. He's one of the good guys, so he did good with this and he's taking care of it.
So we still have an air filter to change, some dents to take out, a little more work to do on it. So thanks to Mike for doing the inspection for me. If you want to subscribe to his channel, the link's up there or down in the description, or both, or maybe even a pinned comment if I can get around to it. But I'm going to go do all that and let him go on his day. And well, that Saturn is what happens when you don't get a used car inspection. That one came into his shop and they had just bought it and they wanted to take care of the noise in the back end. And when he put up on the lift, well, you saw what it looked like. And well, it had to die. One of the advantages to having such a long commute to work for me is I like to drive these vehicles, and it gives me a chance to put a lot of miles on them and get some seat time with them, because then you can find out everything that you might have missed on a short test drive, or even if you only put a few miles on it, which is why sometimes you buy a used car and you immediately find problems. Dealers pick them up from the auction and they don't drive them around a ton, so there's stuff that they don't know about. And it's not because they didn't want to fix it, it's just because they didn't know they needed to. This one definitely could have let it go without knowing it, but because I was behind the wheel for a little while, I found it. So let's see what it's doing, and it should be a quick fix. So naturally, part of our inspection was to check the lights, and we did just that. We got parking lights, they all work. Headlights, they work. Bright lights, they work. Fog lights, they work. But then, the auto headlights turn on the wipers, and we lose our left turn signal. So that's definitely a problem because, well, I can't be forced like a peasant to turn the lights on by myself. I need the car to do it. So I think we're gonna have to take care of that. Should be a pretty easy fix. Let's see.
My diagnosis was an educated guess based on, previous repairs on other vehicles and the fact that we have a turn signal that doesn't work, we have headlights that are wonky, and we have a wiper transmission that just does whatever it feels like. And the only thing that really puts all those together happens to be our headlight switch. So we're going to change that. So we'll pull the 2 screws out of the bottom, and we would have pulled the 3rd one out, but, well, my screwdriver just wasn't long enough. So now we're going to struggle. Honestly, with the longer screwdriver, T20 Torx, this would be really easy. We'll pull the cowling down enough to get the screw out of there. And we're going to kind of pry up and pray that we don't break the top piece. Slip our headlight switch out of here. There's one plug in the back. Get my big fat fingers in there. Get that unplugged. There's one on the top. And our headlight switch is out. Now we got a new one. It's a doesn't last. And I would have gone with an OEM, but honestly, they're just as bad as the aftermarket. That's why we're replacing it. And I didn't have to wait 2 days to get it. And the aftermarket comes with a lifetime warranty, and it's easy to replace if you happen to have a long T20 Torx.
All right, let's test it and see if I guessed right. So I figure out what I did with the key. All right. Parking lights. Oh, we got a turn signal. Headlights, auto headlight. Headlights are not on, but neither are the windshield wipers, so that's a good one. Do we have a left turn signal? We do. We have a right turn signal. All right, I think we got it fixed. Sure the cancel cam works. Yep. Fog lights. Fog lights are working. All right, we're good. Now the new owner will not be a no automatic headlight having peasant.
When we stopped for our headlight switch, we also picked up an air filter, and I have to replace it, even though you've seen me take it apart and check it, and it's the same process. The internet will accuse me of not having replaced it, so now I have to prove it. It is a brand new, fresh filter. Checkmate, internet.
In the pile.
The rear cargo liner comes made for peasants that don't have a rear sub. So we need to cut out the piece that goes around our sub. The last owner didn't. So I found a dull razor blade on the shop floor, and we're going to cut this out so that our cargo liner lays flat. Now we got it out of the way. Hopefully the heat will eventually make it lay flat again.
Got all our stuff back in here. We got the covers for the hard tops. We got the soft top, and it is an OEM soft top. Now I kind of want to see what this is. They said it was a lift. I'm guessing it's probably the harness to lift the top off. Instructions for hoisting Jeep tops. So this is what it is. So you just put it up in your garage and can lift it off. If you don't have a garage, I guess you just hang it from the neighbor's tree. Or go mountain climbing with it. You want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? Every time you start, you get that. Every time you stop, you get that. So I went over to Scott's Jeep Emporium and found a rubber baby buggy bumper. There's supposed to be one on each side, but maybe we'll get away with just one, because that's all I happen to have. Twist it in there. Much better.
I'm sure you're probably wondering why I never thought I'd have one of these Wranglers on my channel. Everybody thinks, well, they're so popular, they'd be a good seller. Well, that is true. Unfortunately, when people are buying them at the auction, they're paying way too much for these things. Because they run the price up for the rebuilds, that means they also run the price up for parts cars. Which means not only do the rebuilds cost a lot of money, but so do the parts. Which means expensive car, expensive parts. It's not worth the rebuild, just go buy a clear title one. Unless, of course, you just want to rebuild your own, in which case, have at it. I don't fault you for that. But if you see someone rebuilding it on YouTube, just know they either found a needle in a haystack, they're a bigger channel that makes their money off of videos, or they just enjoy doing what they do, and they don't care if they lose money. So this thing has just about everything you can imagine. 2 keys, windows, locks, mirrors, heated seats, leather seats, all kinds of buttons down below, automatic transmission, radio controls in the steering wheel, cruise control. Yeah, it's got it all. Not what I remember Jeeps to be when they were actually for having fun off-road and not crawling around the mall. And of course I filmed this portion of the video before I cut that cargo liner to fit. I figured I'd share the window sticker with you since I don't get to see these very often, and this is honestly the closest I'm ever going to get to buying a vehicle with a window sticker in it.
It looks like we got everything done on our Jeep and it's ready to put up for sale. Now the only one thing that I didn't do that I left for the new owner was a set of tires. It's going to need those in the near future, but it is a Jeep, so the new owner might want to put some custom wheels on here, you know, the kind that stick out into 3 lanes of traffic, or maybe some huge 33s and lift the thing up to the sky. I'll leave that to the new owner. That's a Jeep thing I don't understand. So we get all the new parts that we put on this thing that was already in pretty good shape, all the stuff that was in the back. I'm sorry, ducks are not included. You'll have to get your own. Another Jeep thing I don't understand. So if you're looking to put Jojo in your garage, head over to my website. Link is in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.